Hello everyone, greetings from the Norisring. It is hot here, let me tell you, but we've got full house, we're enjoying it. Woo, just got attacked by a bee or whatever that was, but we're in really good spirits and we cannot wait to get racing. And the man who aced the qualifying is Jordan Pepper, and his umbrella man is his dad, so we're glad to see you here as well. You've got family here supporting you, so hopefully you can go from pole position to win in this hot race.
Yeah, I mean, I've had pole once already, and obviously one round to go, and unfortunately couldn't convert that one that day. But yeah, from the first moment here at the Norisring, we've been looking strong, and I'm really confident today. A great pole lap. I think he has key to be up front. Obviously, overtaking is quite difficult, and let's see. Hopefully, my first pole position would be converting that. My second pole and converting that into my first one would be a dream.
Well, we'll be crossing our fingers, and it's definitely going to be a hot race, that's for sure. And we all know the Norisring is unforgiving, right? But you're going to ace it.
Yeah, it's unforgiving, but it's the same for everyone. I mean, it's much easier to be going so close to the walls from the front, and I hope to keep it up there. And yeah, that's the goal today. But let's see, it's a long race. A lot can happen. We know it's DTM, anything can happen, and just happy to be here.
Well, you've got your lucky charm right there, so cross your fingers for your son. I know you will. Best of luck for the race, and speak to you later. Here are your commentators.
Thank you very much, Verena. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to what is surely the jewel in the DTM crown. An absolute highlight of the season as we approach the halfway point of this 2025 season. We are in the streets of Nuremberg for the only street race of the year today and tomorrow. The only street races here around the Norisring. This is going to be spectacular. Verena is down on the grid with all the news.
Hello, everyone. We're super excited because we've got a fantastic man here once again at the DTM, 8-time rally world champion, Sébastien Ogier. Fantastic having you here, enjoying the heat and obviously enjoying the DTM, right?
Yes, always a pleasure to be here, especially as living in Munich since some years. Norisring is, of course, the race at home for my wife, of course, working, but always a pleasure to watch it as well. Always a lot of action on this track, so yeah, I like sometimes to also not have to sit behind the wheel.
Absolutely, but I have to ask that. I mean, obviously, you like your little off-road experience. That's what you do. That's what you're an expert at. But could you also imagine DTM, or is it too boring for you because it's not going up and down the hill?
Well, I get the question every single time I show up here, and honestly, I always answer, why not? In the future, I think I will hopefully get a chance to also try that. I've been there once, some years ago, 2018, if I remember well. I did one race in Spielberg, and it was a cool experience. Back then, it was still the prototype car, not the GT they are driving now. But yeah, I think it's always interesting to try some new things in life, and it's tough. I mean, DTM is super close, especially you look the time here. They are all, if you are 3/10 slower, you are back of the field. So it's very hard when you just show up as a rally driver. But yeah, maybe one day I like hard challenge, so why not?
Well, we always love having you here. Thank you so much, Zeb. Enjoy the heat and the race. And we've got Nicky Team somewhere around here. And let me just be a photo bomb. I'm so sorry, but you know, life is life. You've got me on the picture too now. I'm sorry. Nicky, 2 minutes, okay? Nicky Team here in P2. Sorry for the photo bomb moment. But obviously a great qualifying for you. It's going to be a tough race, but I guess the main aim is to overtake this young man over there and then hopefully go for victory, at least podium, that's for sure.
And enjoy it. Have fun. Unbelievable, the atmosphere here at Norisring. I've never seen so many people around here. So yeah, as you can see, everyone is enjoying it, and so will I. Obviously, we're going to try something in the first corner, but still get around that corner in one piece. So yeah, let's see. It's definitely going to be nice work in the sauna club, but yeah, that's a live racing driver. Everything cannot be good.
Nice one in the sauna club. It's definitely going to be hot in there. What can we expect? What would you say? More like a Finnish sauna, or what kind of sauna is it in the car?
I don't know. It's like probably having a bicycle in the sauna, but yeah. Obviously, when you're in the front row, you want to go for the win. So yeah, that's it. Max attack.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy, and I hope I didn't scare away your fan moment, people there. So next we're going to go to Thierry Vermeulen, who is starting in P4. It was a great qualifying for him. Let me just check if I can find him somewhere. It's always difficult. We've got full house here, and that's why obviously, whoop, that was close. And Thierry is right there, our security man over here, just pointed him out to me. Hello, Thierry. How are you? Sweating a little bit?
So far, so good. I mean, it will be a hot one. So, yeah, we drank a lot, had some energy inside. So, just have to have a clean race. And then after 1 hour, we can rest.
It sounds so easy the way you put it. Just have a clean race, and then after an hour, we can rest. But obviously, it's not only going to be a hot race. I mean, it's the same for everyone. You're all going to be sweating in the car. But it's also, we know, the Norisring is a tricky one. It's the only city circuit in the calendar. Also, it's unforgiving with no kissing the wall. So how tough will it be?
It will be tough, for sure. But I think here it's also nice to start a bit more at the front. We got some quick cars around, so hopefully we just survive turn 1. And have a high-paced race, and then after the pit stop we can see if we can go a bit forward, but we need to have a clean race, and that's what I'm focused on, and yeah, I'm feeling good.
Hopefully we'll see you on the podium.
Perfect, thank you.
Best of luck, Thierry. And we've got Thomas Preining, who's right there. I can see him jumping into his suit, and obviously, I mean, it's a hot day. I don't even know how hot the asphalt is at the moment. It's definitely going to be a hot race, and Thomas Preining is usually in good spirits, especially starting in this position in P3. So Thomas, is it nice and hot in your suit?
Very, very unenjoyably hot at the moment. It's going to be even hotter in the car, but that's what I'm here for. I love it here. It's a great atmosphere. Luckily, the weather's great this year. It's a heat battle, and it's going to be a very long and for sure a super cool race.
But now you mentioned already, I mean, if you just have a look over there, I mean, it is so full house here at the Norisring. It truly is something special, right? And I guess it helps you drivers also to see so much support from the fans.
Yes, it's also very close to my home. It's a lot of Grello fans, a lot of Austrian fans. It's one of the most enjoyable weekends of the year for sure. I love the track. I feel very comfortable around here, and I really cannot wait to get going.
All right, well, I don't want to hold you up. Thomas, best of luck for the race. Hopefully see you later on the podium. And yeah, we are all psyched to get racing. I mean, look at all these fans. The spirit is amazing at the Norisring. It's the 4th race weekend, so let's do it. Let's go racing, and here are your commentators. Enjoy this one.
Thank you so much there, Verena. Yes, it is absolutely packed out here in the glorious sunshine. Well over 100,000 spectators expected here this weekend as we see Arjun Maini getting himself suited and booted, ready to go. He's in the Ford Mustang. He had a great qualifying session this morning. I do have to tell you that we have lost one of the Mustangs. Fabio Scherer made contact with the wall in qualifying this morning. The team haven't been able to get the car back together again, and unfortunately they've had to withdraw the second Mustang from the race. Hopefully we're going to see him tomorrow, but that's a real shame. Fabio Scherer, who has been very spectacular around here in free practice, but in quali, that contact with the wall has put him out for today. To answer the question about the temperature, well, the track temperature is up to 35.5 already. The air temperature, 28.8 degrees centigrade. So yes, it is cooking out there. Very, very warm. Drivers pouring water into all sorts of places just to stay cool, as you have seen from the pictures. And there is Maro Engel, and he too trying to get himself cooled down before jumping into the car. There is a big contingency here who are cheering for Marco Wittmann. He comes from just down the road in nearby Fürth. The green on the grandstands are the people that are cheering him. Unfortunately for Marco Wittmann, he didn't have a great qualifying session. It was compounded further by the fact that he's got a 5-place grid drop. He is a driver who's picked up 3 reprimands. There's 8 others who are on 2. So if they get up to 3, they too will get a grid drop as well. But at the moment, Marco Wittmann, he's also carrying an extra 10 kilos of success ballast on account of finishing second at Zandvoort last time out. There is a driver and a team who have done well. Both of the Come To You Aston Martins have had an exceptional qualifying, and Nicola Bart in particular had his best qualifying ever, and we're going to see that very, very shortly when you bring the grid in a little bit. Thierry Vermeulen, we've heard from him. Nicky Tim, he loves this place. His dad's a former winner around here, and of course it was this time last year that we saw Nicky Tim coming round to take what was an historic win. But that's the man they've got to beat, the pole sitter, Jordan Pepper. Welcome along to the Norisring. We are racing in the streets of Nuremberg, and what a race this is set to be. Jordan Pepper didn't just break the track record this morning, he utterly demolished it with a lap time of 48.467. They are all looking for that trophy. Last year, it was Mirko Bortolotti who won it. This year, who knows? Because at the moment, it's Lucas Auer who leads the way in the points. At this circuit, though, this is something very different to what we've come to expect. 2.162 kilometers around, that equates to 1.3 miles. 5 turns, 4 to the left, 1 to the right. Turn 1. Getting round there is a challenge. Marco Wittmann got into Argentini in 2022. In 2023, we saw a lot of panel rubbing. That was Laren Heinrich getting together with Ricardo Feller. But surviving that first lap is the first challenge for these drivers. And then after that, surviving for 55 minutes plus 1 lap with a mandatory pit stop. It is a challenge like no other during the season. It is the first of 2 races. Let's have a look at the starting grid for this race 7 of a 16 race season. Marco Wittmann, the local man, starting on his own on row 12. Ahead of him will be Timo Glock and Ben Duhr. Mirko Bortolotti and Maurice Schering occupy row 10. Row 9 has Ein Chang-Nguyen, and winner from last year, René Rast. Ricardo Feller has Ben Green for company on row 8. On row 7, Tom Callender, the youngest driver in the field, with Luca Engster alongside, and a great qualifying from Gilles Magnus. Max Powell, quickest in FP1, but he's down on row 6. Row 5, championship leader Lucas Auer with Argentini for company. Jack Aitken and Jules Gounon are next. Then on row 3, Nicola Bart, best qualifying ever with Mauro Engel alongside Thomas Breining. We've already heard from Thierry Vermeulen as well. But the front row, Nicky Thiem has already said he's trying to beat Jordan Pepper into turn 1. He's going to try and make that move. Are they all going to make it around that first turn? We are going to be finding out in just a few moments. The crowd are gathered on the terrace. The atmosphere is electric. And the championship very much alive and kicking. Lucas Auer leading René Rast by 16 points, but it's incredibly close behind. Ein Chang-Nguyen has 18 points, as does Jules Gounon. They're tied for 3rd. Jordan Pepper, courtesy of 3 points from his pole position, has jumped up to 6th place as well. So lots of points to be scored in the championship. Before we get things going, it is my privilege to welcome to you, or to introduce to you, shall I say, the commentary team for this weekend. Chris Hartley's on duty in Silverstone. So I'm Brian Oliver, alongside me, the man who bought you DTM for 10 years in the past. He's back in the commentary booth for 1 weekend only. Good afternoon, Dave Richardson.
Dragged out of retirement and shipped here with a Zimmer frame. Good afternoon. Here we go then, the Norisring. Still my favorite track on the DTM calendar, where track position is paramount. Track position is everything. You've heard Jordan Pepper say it, and Nicky Thiem as well. And who is going to be B1 when they come out of the first sequence of turns? I say sequence of turns, there is no sequence, there's like 2 either end of this track, and it's got the chicane right in the middle. But we do know turn 1 is a funnel.
So Paul Espargaro has given the instructions to start the engines. Jordan Pepper on the crest of a wave, having won in the Spa 24-hour race only 1 week ago, looking to emulate Nicky Thiem, going from Spa 24 to win the following week at Norisring, because that's what happened last year. Also in that team at Spa was Mirko Bortolotti and Luca Engster, but they've got a bit of work to do from further back. The track is very short, so there will be 2 formation laps to give the opportunity to get the heat into the tyres and into the brakes. No tyre warmers permitted in the DTM, but this is going to be action-packed.
So
the tension is electric.
If the countdown for leading car 1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Leading car 1, go.
So the instruction is given for the start of the 2 formation laps by our race director. That is Sven Stopper. Does a phenomenal job. He's got his work cut out here Those barriers are incredibly close to the racetrack. They don't move. We've already seen cars making contact with the barrier. We've lost Tom Callender in one of the free practice sessions, and as already mentioned, we've lost Fabio Scherer as well, who made contact on the exit of turn 1 in qualifying this morning. But now the cars start on those formation laps, and we are getting ready to start this race.
And what you've said is absolutely true. The drivers will be working hard on the brakes, and the reason for that is the temperature that's generated in the brakes dissipates through the rims onto the tyres. Bring them up to temperature if you can. Lucas Au leading the championship ahead of René Rast, and then it's Heineken Guven, Jules Gounon, Mauro Engel, Jordan Pepper, Marco Wittmann. And then it is Aiken going in P8 in terms of the Drivers' Championship at the moment. Marco Wittmann, you mentioned earlier on, of course, him coming from Fort, just down the road from here. He has legions of fans. Will they propel him from being ultimately last on the grid? Where can Marco Wittmann finish in this race? It was a disastrous qualifying for him.
It is, but anything can happen in the next 55 minutes plus 1 lap. And of course, we bring you a mandatory pit stop as well. The pit window will open 20 minutes into the race, and it will remain open for 20 minutes. During that pit window, every car will need to stop, and that will be a mandatory tyre change as well. The ADAC and DTM are very much thinking of environmental. We're using sustainable fuel here in the DTM, 75% more efficient than conventional fuels. There's also not a plastic bottle to be found in the paddock, eliminating plastic waste as well. So the ADAC really thinking about the environment as well as putting on some great racing. So the car's still weaving now. Those are the tyres. Not anticipating that we're going to need the wet weather tyres today. There is some rumour of showers in the vicinity tomorrow, but certainly it's dry, hot and sunny on this for race 7 of this 16 race season. And after tomorrow, we will be at the halfway point of the championship. So the car's now heading in towards turn 4. In this circuit, effectively 2 hairpins joined together by a couple of straights with a chicane in one of the straights. It's as close to an oval as you're ever going to get in DTM racing. It is something very, very different. If you've never seen DTM around the Norisring before, strap yourself in, because this will blow your doors off. Are you ready? Because the streets of the Nuremberg, streets of Nuremberg, are going to echo to the sound of DTM. We have 5 red lights on, and in just a few seconds, it's 5 red lights off. We are go for race 7 of the season here at the Norisring. A great launch from Jordan Pepper into turn 1. A very wide line for Nicky Tim, but Thierry Vermeulen on the inside. Thomas Preining taking advantage of both of them now to the inside of Thierry Vermeulen. They're running side by side towards the chicane. Vermeulen holding on to that second place, but Nicky Tim, he already said he wanted to try and get the jump at the start, but he's been shuffled back through the pack. Everybody looks to have made it around that troublesome turn 1. They now head out along towards turn 4, fanning out 3 abreast in places, but they're going to need to get side by side into this turn, and that is Nicky Tim pointing in the wrong direction. A little bit of contact from the car behind, and now suddenly he's shuffled to the back of the pack.
Yes, all of a sudden, as you say, anything can happen here, and Nicky Tim goes from P2 to plumb last as Vermeulen is looking very lively here, trying to put it around the outside of Jordan Pepper. He'll try and get a slingshot now to the inside. Jordan Pepper, though, will know to make that Lambo as wide as he possibly can. And as they head towards the Cholereses again, this is looking very lively across Pepper, Vermeulen and Thomas Preining. They break away a bit from Mauro Engel, and then it's Jack Aiken and Lucas Au, and Arjun Maini. He's running in P8, and here's Nicky Tim.
Nicky, give me a feedback if the car's okay, please.
All good. So it looked like it was Mauro Engel that he might have got together with. Engel, who's dropped back in that 4th place. So the first 3 breaking clear. There's Ein Chang-gun on the inside, a teammate Maurice Schuring into turn 4 and out into turn 5. But Jordan Pepper looks to have covered off the challenge from Thierry Vermeulen. Right, here we go. So Mauro Engel was to the inside. Well, our race director has flagged he's going to take a look at that. So did Mauro Engel have that position, or did he need to back out of it? Well, that's the decision for the race director to take. But the one outcome is that Nicky team is at the very back. This is the view on board. He had a bit of a gap there, but the door was closing in front of him into the hairpin. Here at the Norisring, you have got to go for the gaps if you see them, because overtaking is so difficult. So difficult one to call, but the race director will take a look at that. And if, well, we don't need to lip read to know what was going on there, but if there is a penalty to be served, and that's Ben Green into the pit, so clearly a problem there. Maybe that was a puncture. It looked like a tyre change. That won't count as one of his mandatory stops.
Which tire?
I was smashed behind.
Left.
Okay, well, there's confirmation then. So tie down for Ben Green, and it's going to be a long afternoon for him as well. Right, challenge into the hairpin. Max Powell to the inside of the number 7 Gilles Magnus car, on board Ricardo Feller as well. Ricardo Feller working his way forwards in the number 29 Audi. So a lot of drivers just trying to push forwards pole position in the early stages of this race while the field is closed back together. So Ricardo Feller is there. Just ahead of him is Max Powell.
Great racing that we're seeing, and I'm loving these onboard shots here as we ride on board with Ricardo Feller then. And every turn here is a difficult turn to get right, and you can see that Ricardo Feller was trying to go for a completely different line there as they stretch their legs on the start-finish straight now that has got a kink right in the middle of it before you head into turn number 1 or 2, depending on how you count them. You try and come offline, maybe try and take a look around the outside to get a slingshot on the inside if you can, and all very wide there for Ricardo Feller, but all seems good. There's Marco Wittmann trying to make his way up the order, and I think Marco has made it up to P19 or maybe even P20.
Our race stewards have taken a look at that incident between Nicky team and Mauro Engel. They have said it was a racing incident, so no further action. Interestingly, quickest man on the track is one Mr. René Rast. Let's hear from Mauro Engel.
Moving under braking. You're moving under braking and absolutely left me 0 space when I was next to him.
I think Mauro Engel probably giving up that message for the benefit of the race stewards who do monitor the driver radios, just saying, look, he was moving under braking, there was nothing I could do. So they have looked at that and they have decided that there is no further action. So now Jordan Pepper has responded. I did mention René Rast prior to that. He's in 10th place. His fastest lap has now been eclipsed. So Jordan Pepper, the race leader, 49.644. Always hard work to get used to a lap time. It doesn't start with a 1, but Jordan Pepper with a 49-second lap leading the way. But René Rast, man on a mission. He won here last year. He's pretty good at coming back through the pack. He just made short work of Nicola Bart and into 9th place.
And that was experience, wasn't it? René Rast knows his way around the Norisring, and he made it count. And René Rast moving up a further position then as Jordan Pepper continues to lead and maintain that gap of just under a second between himself and Vermeulen. Then it is Thomas Preining P3. But just when you know how to get the best out of this circuit, you can tell when it counts.
Yes, absolutely. And knowing how far to push it as well. And Jordan Pepper has been quickest in both the free practice sessions. Certainly FP1, he was quickest until the last fraction of a second of FP1. He was quickest in FP2. He was quickest in quali. There's a theme there. And there was a bit of contact into the back of the Ricardo Feller car. That was Gilles Magnus. That was more than just a kiss, wasn't it? That was a hell of a smack from the Aston Martin. But it looks like they've all survived, although there was a bit of debris out on the track as a result of it. Now, hopefully nobody's going to pick up a puncture from that. There's Jules Gounon, who is just having a fairly subdued race by his standards so far. He's in 8th place at the moment, making his first season, full season debut in the DTM this year. Let's listen to Timo Glock. He's on team radio.
Hot intake of 61 degrees. Anything I can do against the hot intake, because it feels like I'm losing power.
So Timo, who's up into 19th place at the moment. Sounds like there's some heat issues. You saw confirmation that the incident between Gilles Magnus and Ricardo Feller is under investigation by the race stewards as well. Jordan Pepper continues to control the pace. He's opened up the lead by another couple of tenths. He leads by 1.1 seconds over Thierry Vermeulen.
And that is an extraordinary advantage that he's got when you consider how close they all are in DTM, as we ride on board now with the man that is supported probably more than any other driver here in terms of the fan base that's here, Marco Wittmann. And Marco Wittmann chasing down the number 16 car of Timo Glock, who we heard from just a moment ago, puts himself to the inside. It was a firm, fraught, but I think ultimately fair move, but he didn't make it pay off. Timo Glock able to close the door and say, yeah, you can try again, Marco. Mega Marco, you're not coming through that way. Jordan Pepper continuing to eke out that margin at the front ahead of Thierry Vermeulen. A great racing wherever you look down the pack. Arjamini, another one that's really, really impressing me, up to P7 and chasing down Lucas Auer now, our championship leader.
No chance on the straight of destroying me, everybody.
Wow.
Also,
Defending champion Mirko Bortolotti. So he says, I've got no chance on the straights, they're destroying me. He's in an identical car to Nicky Thiem, who is now at the back as a result of that incident. But what is happening with Mirko Bortolotti?
How can they be so different? We saw with Nicky Thiem, okay, he's been turned around and he's right at the back now, but the pace that he'd got in comparison to Mirko Bortolotti, what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And Mirko just looks to have been struggling in all the free practice and quali sessions. If you didn't join us for qualifying this morning, the cars were split into two groups. So we had a Group A and a Group B for qualifying. Tomorrow for the second race, Group B will go first. But they qualified one row at a time effectively. But Jordan Pepper was in the first group. Now, normally the first group has a disadvantage because the track gets quicker during qualifying, but he's still got that pole position. Such was his advantage. He is in the Lamborghini Huracan, which is the same car that Mirko Bortolotti is in, albeit for a different team, as we lose Ben Green once again. So it looks like he is into retirement. So Ben Green's torrid season appears to be going from bad to worse. He started on such a high at Oschersleben, but has not been able to pick it up since then. And it looks like he's got terminal damage in the Emil Frey Racing Ferrari and retires it into the pits. So we've lost. Nicky Thiem is still out on track. So Ben Green is the only retirement. Of course, Fabio Scherer, who did not start. Jordan Pepper at the front. He's been pegged back by about 3/10 from Thierry Vermeulen. So Vermeulen's not letting him get away entirely. And then there's a 1.3 second gap to Thomas Preining in that third place. There's a replay of Jordan Pepper under braking into the corner. And I was wondering if this was going to give us the clue as to where that 3/10 went. I don't think that he's made any mistakes. I think he's probably just pacing himself, to be quite honest.
I think it's just managing the gap. I think you're absolutely right. But of course, the more he manages the gap, then it gives encouragement, does it not, to Thierry Vermeulen, who is chasing him down and reducing it to 7/10 at times. But track position is everything here. And of course, Pepper has that huge advantage of being P1. I think he is just potentially playing with Vermeulen. And there you can see as Arjamini absolutely rattles the mortar that holds those concrete blocks together. Brilliant stuff.
I struggle to get my car into a parking space down at the local supermarket. You see how close they can judge it to the wall here. It is phenomenal stuff. And of course, when you have the field separated by fractions of a second, then every little bit of the circuit counts. You've got different surfaces as well. You can see here the car's riding up onto what is a pavement for the rest of the year round. So you're going tarmac onto concrete and bumpy. Different drivers over free practice and quali exploring different lines, trying to avoid the bumps, trying to find out where the grip is, certainly trying to maximize what they can around this circuit. But it's Jordan Pepper who's got this under control at the moment, 0.854, so the gap is holding steady between first and second.
You're right, it is steady, isn't it? It's being maintained, and just under certain sections, under braking there, Thierry Vermeulen gets a little bit closer, but then Jordan Pepper is able to stretch his legs on as they head up towards the Scholleresses. Let's ride on board right now, looking back at the car of Maro Engel from being on board with Thomas Preining here through the Scholleresses. Love that camera that's welded to the side of the Armco, and that's just how close the cars get on the in, on the middle, and on the out as well. I mean, these drivers millimetrically perfect, aren't they, on the tarmac?
not all of our cameras survive DTM race weekends. That's one that's particularly at risk this weekend, I would say. And that man there, Arjamani, in 7th place.
We not follow the train ahead because of the brakes or because we are not fast enough? Question mark. We are not fast enough. Copy that.
So Arjamani just saying we're not fast enough, and interesting to hear them talking about brakes, because of course on a closed circuit like this, on a day like this, keeping the brakes in the temperature windows, not just tyres, it's brakes as well. What you don't want to do is be running out of brakes around a circuit, particularly that's surrounded by a concrete wall.
No, absolutely. When you start relying on the car in front of you as your braking mechanism, which we have seen in the past, then that's not ideal. Down in the pit lane right now is Verena.
And I'm here with Ben Green. Unfortunately, the race ended for you. Ben, talk us through what happened.
Yeah, just another bit of contact this season. Got hit from behind twice. The second time resulting in a puncture. So then we're a lap down. There's no point to continue. But it's very disappointing for me and the team.
Hi, Ben. Thank you very much. I'm very sorry, Ben. And back to you.
Poor old Ben Green, sometime soon, his luck is surely going to change. 10th place is not a reflection on his skill or indeed on what he is capable of. There was Jack Aitken. I was looking at that going on board. It looked like he was going very deep into the corner. He, in the sister car to Thierry Vermeulen and indeed to Ben Green, and Jack Aitken, who started on pole position in this race last year, got caught out a little bit, well, the team did, by the rain that came down in the latter part of the race. We're getting close to the pit window opening before too long, about 5 minutes away from that. That is when the strategy is going to start to come in, because the teams may decide to bring the cars in, attempt an undercut, maybe get the cars back out. Well, I was going to say get them back out on open track, but for this year, the pit speed limit has been reduced for the Norisring from 50 kilometers an hour to 40 kilometers an hour, just for this event. And it means, in theory, the simulations are saying that if a driver comes in, when he comes out of the pits, he's going to rejoin roughly the group of cars that he was battling before the pit stop. So you haven't got front runners suddenly in the midfield and vice versa. It's an interesting idea. It does mean that if you're trying to get the car in for a pit stop, then to get them out on an open track, you haven't got that option as a result of the pit speed limit being reduced.
That is, of course, all assuming everything goes well in the pit stop.
Absolutely. And then you may well be on open track, but not in a way that you'd want to be.
No.
So, yes, I have to say, looking at the cars coming into the pits during quali and during free practice, it looked painfully slow. But, yes, so that reduced speed limit in the pits changing the whole dynamic of the race, really. So, in theory, cars coming in, making their stop, coming out in the same position amongst the same runners, but a lap down. There's Ayn Chan Nguyen taking a very deep line into the corner as well. So Ayn Chan in 15th place, his teammate Maurice Scheuring just behind him. Gilles Magnus in the Aston Martin just ahead. He has received a black and white flag. That is a warning from the race director for pushing the car into turn one. We saw him getting together with Ricardo Feller. So the race director giving a black and white flag, and many more of those. It could see him receive a grid drop later on in the season.
If I'm honest, since Nicky Team has done a 360 and got the car pointing back in the right direction again after being right royally nerfed out, which was a racing incident, he's not made the progress that I expected to see from him.
Yeah, and maybe just trying to find a route past the car in front. He's got Ben Durr ahead of him. Maurice Scheuring's putting a bit of pressure on Ayn Chan Nguyen just ahead of him, both in the Manthey team, although Nguyen is in the Manthey EMA team, Maurice Scheuring in the Manthey Junior team. You can't miss that car on a dark night. But Maurice Scheuring still looking for his first podium in DTM. 2.5 minutes away from the pit window opening. Everybody out at the moment, but soon the strategy is going to come into play. Jordan Pepper leads Thierry Vermeulen now by just under 1.5 seconds.
Here you can see, look, everyone getting ready, and that means the team getting ready. Yeah, I wonder what the strategy is going to be. Come in early. I mean, it is quite a sizable window, isn't it, Brian? So you can make a decision as a team. what your strategy is going to be, and that's based upon the pace you've got out there, tyre longevity, etc., 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 what it's going to do, what you think is going to be the best thing to do. We are 2 minutes from finding out what the answers to some of those questions could be.
It is a 20-minute window, so as you say, plenty of time, but with this reduced pit lane speed limit, it does change the whole dynamic, because we've always said, oh, you could bring them in early, get them out on some open track, try and do an undercut. But with this speed limit change, that could change everything. It takes almost that little element of strategy out of the equation. So we'll see what happens. It's all been done in simulations. We haven't actually tried it in race conditions yet. I'll let you know in about 21 minutes how it all went. Riding on board at the moment, looking back from Thomas Prine, and that's Mauro Engel's view as he chases the car into the Scholar S, a corner that's taken in 4th gear, then down to about 2nd gear, about 115 kilometers an hour. Then it's out on the Zeppelinstrasse, the back straight, if you will. There is what you might think is a corner. It's just a kink in the track. They're flat out up to about 225 kilometers an hour in 5th gear before the heavy braking into this turn 4, the Dutzendijk curve. It's a 1st gear corner, so that's a real deceleration. And then the fastest part of the track, it's flat out around turn 5, out along the straight. In towards turn 1, they're reaching speeds of about 250 kilometers an hour in 6th gear before then braking to about 50 kilometers an hour into this hairpin corner, 50 kilometer an hour corner. It is the Grundig turn, the turn that sees many controversies. At the moment, we're keeping it clean, but we've still got 35 minutes plus 1 lap plus the pit window for it all to change.
Yes, and that is but 10 seconds away from being opened right now. So we ride on board with Ricardo Feller. Telemetry there, you can see up to 3rd gear as we stayed on board with him. And, well, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Pit window is open, Brian. The green light is on, so anyone that chooses now, they've got between now and 20 minutes to dive in, and one of those is
Max Powell. So the driver that's quickest in FP1 is the first to roll the dice for Powell Motorsport. So into the pit lane he comes, 40 kilometers an hour. Of course, he got a podium at Zandvoort last time out. Was delighted by that. Also in Marco Wittmann. So the team getting in. Now this is where we're going to find out whether it's possible to get them back out in roughly the same area.
If we could get somehow in front of the Aston, it would help a lot.
So was that stop in front of the Aston? Couldn't quite work out.
Get out in front of.
Get out in front of. Yeah, I mean, these are mega quick pit stops. So the team get to work. Schubert Motorsport, good job done there by Marco Wittmann's team. 6.8 seconds. It was a 7.9 for Max Powell. So lost about 1.1 second to the car that came in behind him. Out they come into the traffic. So Max Powell, right, others in now. Ricardo Feller and Mirko Bortolotti, they're both coming in for their stops as well.
Okay, we ride on board with Ricardo Feller then, as you say. It's positively pedestrian, isn't it? 40 kilometers per hour down the pit lane. The mandatory speed limit changed for this Norisring event, and all the way down to the other end, the very start of the pit lane, we travel on board with Ricardo Feller then, as he dives in now and the team go to work.
So they start on the rears first. That is in the rules. Only 2 mechanics allowed to work on changing the tyres, and then they get the car rolling, having done the front as well. So good stop there. Certainly the quickest so far is Marco Wittmann's 6.8 for Schubert Motorsport. It was 8 seconds for Ricardo Feller, 8.8 for Mirko Bortolotti. So AB Sportsline not especially quick on that pit stop.
And that is something that they practice time and time again, isn't it? So there you can see the cars coming back out into traffic, Brian. So already we've seen, what is it, about 6 cars that have come in, maybe 5?
Well, 6 if you count Ben Green, who's come into retirement. Ben Durr is the latest into the pits as well. There is René Rast going wheel to wheel with Ricardo Feller. Of course, Feller has done his pit stop, but René Rast hasn't. Rast now up into 9th place. There, Durr Motorsport get to work on that McLaren. The performance pit stop, a new discipline discipline for Durr Motorsport when they joined DTM last year, but they've certainly got up to speed on it now. That was an 8.3 second. So still Marco Wittmann's 6.8 second stop. Pretty spectacular from Schubert Motorsport. Right, two more in. Nicola Bart, Luca Engsler also into the pit lane as well. Here comes Nicola Bart in the Come To You Aston Martin. Luca Engsler there in the gold and white Lamborghini. The Grasser team will be getting to work on that. Come To You Racing, another team learning performance pit stops. This year is the first year they've been doing that. They get the car on the ground and rolling. That was an 8.7 second stop. Now Grasser Racing, TGI team Lamborghini by GRT, and it looked a bit sticky, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, it did. Couldn't get the gun quite onto the nut. Story of, you know, an engineer's worst nightmare, that, isn't it? Because everything has to be so pinpoint accurate, because those tenths of seconds mean so much.
Despite that, he still managed to get in a 7.9 second stop, which actually was beat a number of the people that didn't have problems. So those are the cars that are out on track. It's getting busy out there. The cars that have been in. Now, the theory is, once the tyres are up to temperature, they'll be in roughly the same place. We'll find out in a bit when the leaders start to come in, and we'll see where they are. This is a slow-mo into turn one, and that is Nicola Bart going deep into the corner. And maybe struggling a bit with brakes there, who knows, but gathers it all up, keeps it out of the wall. Right, next in, Team O'Glock, the number 16 car. So Durr Motorsport getting both their cars serviced nice and early into the pit window. That was 7.9 seconds. So that was a good stop for Team O'Glock. Out of the pit lane he comes. Out along to the pit straight. You can see the cars that have stopped weaving.
Trying to generate some temperature, of course, because they come out on tyres that are fresh and have gone straight onto the car. No tyre warmers allowed.
Absolutely. Cars must be cold, the tyres must be cold, and they're not even allowed to leave them in the sunshine. It's very, very heavily restricted what you can do with the tyres. They have to be in a specific area that is not going to be heated even by the sun. Right, Marco Wittmann working his way past the pitted car of Team O'Glock. So Marco Wittmann, of course, he is one of the cars that has stopped, so that is a place that is for position. Up ahead of him is Mirko Bortolotti, who's also been in for a stop as well. Jules Magnus is the latest car that's peeled off into the pit lane. We're on board with Marco Wittmann now, out onto the pit straight once again. Down in 21st place. Right, next up, Maurice Scheuring into the pits, drops out of 12th place as he peels off, keeping to that 40 kilometers an hour speed limit. This is going to feel very, very slow. Whoa. Contact between Marco Wittmann and Mirko Bortolotti. That was for 19th place. Now, Wittmann, has he backed out of it, or has it just that Bortolotti had the momentum around the corner? But you got to get up pretty early in the morning. Put one over Mirko Bortolotti. That was
another little kiss there, wasn't there?
Yeah, he'll have his red mist descending if we're not careful. Wittmann looking very eager. This is for position. They've both stopped. Marco Wittmann now to the inside, sees the gap. Now Bortolotti tries to cut back to the inside. It's a drag race out of Dutzendorf.
Take that.
The two cars bouncing off each other. Advantage Mirko Bortolotti along the pit straight. Is Wittmann going to try again? You bet he is. He looks to the outside into turn one. They will come. Wittmann's going to try and go the long way round. Bet that Mirko Bortolotti leaves the braking as late as he dare and still holds on to that position. But now Wittmann is in an AB Sportsline sandwich, because rushing to join in is Nicky Team.
Yes, Nicky Team feels that there's a great opportunity here for me to get involved in this little battle that's going on between Mirko Bortolotti and Marco Wittmann. I'm going to have some of this, and not wishing to miss out either is potentially Team O'Glock as well. He didn't need too many invitations into this little three-way fight that's going on. It's quietened down a little bit now, but for a moment it was terribly exciting, wasn't it? As Marco Wittmann and Mirko Bortolotti, well, they decided their cars being welded together was something that was appealing to everybody.
I don't know if you see, but Bortolotti got fully drives into my car.
Once again.
Yes, mate, we saw it. Everything's on the light feed. We keep pushing.
Possibly a message for the race steward rather than for the team. There are 8 drivers that are still on 2 reprimands. Marco Wittmann reached 3 in free practice, hence the grid drop. But the 2 reprimands, one of them is owing to Mirko Bortolotti. If he gets a 3rd, he will see himself with a 5-place grid drop as well. Sven Stopper the race director, has decided to take a much stronger stance on driving standards. At Zandvoort, there were 16 warnings that were handed out. That sounded like a bit of a record to me. They were even checking onboard cameras and issuing additional warnings long after the race had finished, as René Rast now peels off into the pit lane. So René Rast was in about 9th place, I think, wasn't it, when he peeled off into the pits. We'll see where he comes out. The team get to work.
Watching that, you know, I think it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Come on. You know, they were both trading places or trying to trade places, weren't they? And they traded a bit of paint in so doing.
I would remind you that René Rast is also carrying 20 kilos extra of success ballast on account of his win last time out in Zandvoort. Doesn't seem to be affecting him too much, so he comes out of the pits. Luke Sauer's on team radio.
Keep pushing, keep pushing. Let's do a maximum attack now.
So Lugi been given the instruction for maximum attack. Of course, his tyres are up to temperature. René Rast is on cold tyres, so this should be easy pickings for the Mercedes.
Maximum attack, continuous crank. That's what we want from Lugi Aras. He goes through on René Rast, as you say. He had a temperature advantage, but for sure in terms of his rubber, as still they keep coming in. It's around about 9 cars still to come in now.
Right, Changuan is the next. This is great. The helmet cam at Manthey EMA. You think it's chilled. It isn't. The car was a bit slow off the jacks, actually, but it gets rolling again. Iron Changuan is done and dusted. René Rast's stop was 6.5 seconds.
That's the best, isn't it?
That is by far the best. Next up would have been a 6.7 for Maurice Schuring. But Iron Changuan, his stop is now done and dusted. That was a 7.3. So it felt a little bit delayed getting it off the jacks. Maybe, maybe not. It's easy for me to say, sat here in a commentary box. Still 9 cars, make that 8 yet to pit, because Jules Gounon is the next to peel off into the pits for his mandatory stop. Then the team will get to work on that. The leading stopper at the moment is René Rast. So here comes Jules Gounon. The yellow Mamba is serviced by Mercedes-AMG Team Man Filter. They've done the job. They've got it done. The car is off the jacks. That was a 6.4 seconds. That was a great stop by the team, getting Jules Gounon serviced and back out on track nice and quickly. Arjun Maini next in, so HRT will set to work on the Ford Mustang. Keeping to the speed limit, indicating he's coming in. Right, that is Tom Callender, Iron Changuan. So Callender, who is currently in 13th place, Gouan in 12th place at the moment. There are cars ahead of them. Now, Tom Callender has received a penalty lap.
That's what I was about to tell you, and that is for a pit infringement.
So he may have gone above the speed limit. It may well be that the team have done something that was outside of the regulations. That's a slow stop for Arjun Maini as well. That's a real shame. These pit stops are very heavily regulated. That was a 9.7 for Arjun Maini. Pit stops are very heavily regulated. Number of people can work on the car. The tyres have to be supported. They can't be left to just roll around. Everything is very heavily regulated. So Tom Callender will have to peel off as a little bit of a kiss there from René Rast. Get out of my way, Arjun. I'm coming through. BMW versus Mustang. He doesn't take too kindly to that.
And that's playing nicely into the hands of the car that's running right behind René Rast, that we ride on board with now. Ricardo Feller, as Arjun Maini sticks his elbows out here and says, you want to come by, friend? You find a way by. I'm not going to let you through. And this is brilliant stuff, isn't it? Well done to Arjun Maini on what would have been really disadvantageous rubber, coming out and just making it stick to the track like that and denying René. And here comes Ricardo Feller then, full chat flat along the start-finish straight here, trying to get the outside of René Rast. Then will he dive to the inside as they head in towards turn number 1? He's certainly fully alongside the car now, more than fully alongside, and Maini slows him down. Whoa. And Ricardo Feller has done the job. What an overtake. Brilliant setup.
Brilliant stuff from Ricardo Feller. Going round the outside on turn 1 is a feat. Going round the outside of René Rast on turn 1, that really does take some doing. So top job there. As you say, he set it up beautifully coming into that. This was the little nudge that came from René Rast. A little bit of carbon fibre flying up into the air. Arjun Maini's like, I don't care who you are, how many championships you've won, you're not coming past me. He positioned that Mustang exactly where he needed to. Rene Rast had to yield to the yellow and blue machine, and in the end was reversed back into the clutches of Ricardo Feller. This is what it looked like. Ricardo Feller to the outside, along the pit straight, into turn one. I didn't think he could make that stick, but that Audi is pretty nimble, isn't it?
I think he was helped by virtue of the fact that Archer Miney and Rene Rast made contact again.
Yeah. Right, in comes championship leader, Lucas Auer. He was in 7th place, so he's into the pits, 6.1. That is a brilliant stop from the crew at Team Landgraf. Good job done there. He rejoins. Still, we have 6 cars yet to come into the pits, make that 5, because Mauro Engel from 5th place is now peeling off into the pit lane. So Winward will get to work on that car. So in comes Mauro Engel, and there's been a problem for Luca Engster. You can see a lot of smoke. That's a Dutzendijk corner. Now, is that mechanical, or has he just had a big lockup? He's going very slowly. We're about to find out.
Oh,
he was
that's
tagged.
why.
Tagged by the number 8 car, Nicola Bart. Did he keep it at the barrier? No, he didn't. So that is bad news for Luca Engster. That doesn't look like he's going to go much further. Mauro Engel, good stop for him. That was a 5.8 second stop for Mauro Engel. So that has really given him a little bit of a shot in the arm. Here's Nicky Team, the AB Sportsline crew, getting to work on his car. There's a problem there at the front, so that hasn't been especially quick. 8.5 seconds. We've still got the first 4 yet to come in. Our leading stopper is Mauro Engel at the moment, with Lucas Auer second amongst the stoppers. Still 4 cars to come in as Nicky Team rejoins the track. Tom Callender had to pass through the penalty box at no more than 40 kilometers an hour. And that was a big impact for Luca Engster, wasn't it?
Yeah, that nerfed him out, really, didn't it? Good and proper.
No surprise that incident.
Contacts with the barriers.
Yeah, and he's on team radio.
If you beat Luca, you have to stop the car and begin of pit lane. You have to beat the car before it enters of pit lane. Park somewhere there, please, where you can on the right-hand side, not in front of the garage.
Okay, so the team giving him instructions to retire. Right, in comes Thomas Preining from 3rd place. Looks like he's got a problem. He hasn't. That's just what 40 kilometers an hour looks like. Into the pit lane he comes. Right, penalty lap 3 times.
Yes, so that's basically for causing that collision, isn't it? And
that's for Nicola Bart, by the way.
Yes, so causing that collision onto Luca Engster. So penalty lap 3 times. That means passing through that box on 3 separate occasions.
At no more than 40 kilometers an hour. That will be the equivalent to adding about 5 seconds onto the lap time. So that will relegate him well and truly towards the back. Jack Aitken also has been in for his stop. So these cars coming out, we've got 2 yet to stop. The 2 cars that have been running 1st and 2nd, they've still got over 4 minutes remaining and wits to do it. So Jordan Pepper and Thierry Vermeulen. Pepper, who has a 4.5 second lead of Thierry Vermeulen, really in control of this race at the moment, but he does need to have a stress-free pit stop. And if he can get that done and dusted, he should be able to come out and retain the lead. At the moment of the stoppers, Thomas Preining is the leader. Looking like, if everything goes to plan, a net 3rd place for him. But we've still got 2 cars yet to come in. There is Jordan Pepper, still staying out a little bit longer.
Of course, they need everything to go right. Has Vermeulen come in, or did I misinterpret that? Yeah, yes, Vermeulen is in. This is going to be a critical one to watch, Brian, because this could be for track position upon Vermeulen's return to track.
So Jordan Pepper, the only one now to have not pitted, and why would he? He's had an empty track in front of him. Thierry Vermeulen, in he comes. The pit limiter is on. Emil Fry Racing, the team will be there. Their hearts will be racing, because this could be the difference between a win or a podium or not. The air jack goes in. The car's raised up off the ground. Good and swift on the rear, on the front. Off the jacks they come. They practice this into the night. Now Jordan Pepper getting ready to come in as well. We see the crew out in the pit lane. Here he comes. The last car yet to pit is Jordan Pepper from the lead. So in comes Jordan Pepper. The crew at TGI, Team Lamborghini by GRT, the Grasser crew. Now their hearts will be racing. They have been rehearsing for this all season long. This is critical. They need to get him in, get him out. No mistakes here. So here he comes. He's got to find the pit box. He'll be looking for that. The air jack man will be ready to plug in the jack into the top of the car. The car will raise up into the air. Now the rear wheels are changed. And there's a problem there on the right rear. He hasn't lost too much time. Now the front. So the car down off the jacks, 9.8.
2 seconds.
So 2 seconds different. He should be able to just about hold on to the lead, maybe, because Thierry Vermeulen is down into third place. Here comes Thomas Preining now. Remember, Jordan Pepper is on cold tyres into turn 1. Here comes the car in second place. Thomas Preining has got the jump on Thierry Vermeulen. Look at Moritz Engel. He's up into third place after the pit stop sequence. So Thierry Vermeulen didn't have an especially slow stop, but 7.8 seconds was that stop. But he's come out of it fairly disadvantaged, having been in second place. He's now down into fourth.
So all that simulation work that had been done on reducing the pit lane speed limit, in terms of that should get the driver back out into as far as I'm concerned, in real terms, in real practice, that hasn't worked because we've seen drivers advantage. Now this is where it went wrong. It was on that back wheel, look.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it was the gun, I think.
I should think Jordan Pepper, well, I'm pleased we haven't got him mic'd up in the car. There would have been a panicky moment. I don't think it's cost him as we look at Ian Chen-Guan and Maurice Schering getting up close and personal with Max Powell, or indeed Max Powell getting up close and personal with Maurice Schering. So that's turned him around. The stewards will be taking a look at that. But 4.1 seconds. So Jordan Pepper, make that 3.8 is the gap between Pepper and now Preining.
The big loser in that was Thierry Vermeulen. And ironically, nothing wrong that we can see with the pit stop in terms of how it worked. What a nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. Done everything right, and the pit stop wasn't especially slow, so it may have been the in-lap or the out-lap for these cars. Whatever it was, it shuffled Vermeulen off the podium for the time being. Thomas Preining, always there, all thereabouts. 24,268 euros and climbing in the race wells for Africa. For each lap completed, every racing lap, BWT and ADAC jointly donate €4 to the Be Water mission, providing clean drinking water in primarily rural areas in the Gambia, in Tanzania. Great stuff done by the ADAC, and a lot of money being raised, has been for the last few years, and continues to be. The pit window is closed, so everything done and dusted. We've got the incident between Max Powell and Maurice Schering under investigation. Nothing else under investigation that I can see. So what you see is what it is. 14 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Jordan Pepper, despite that scary moment in the pits, now leading Thomas Preining by 3.186. Pepper looks to have had a real control of this since he arrived here. As we look again at Thomas Preining finding a route past Thierry Vermeulen, and it just looks like Preining got the car, the tyres up to temperature and was able, and Vermeulen had nothing to defend with from Moritz Engel either, so lost 2 places effectively in one go.
Yeah, he was defenceless, wasn't he? He was on cold tyres, and therefore, yeah, there's very little he could do to defend against that. So it is Jordan Pepper then who got those tyres up to temperature. That would have been his first task, wouldn't it? Get in as much heat into those tyres as I can upon return. But he was able to do that. Now, can Maro Engel take this to Thomas Preining? Well, not at the moment. The gap between them is sufficient for Thomas Preining to look pretty comfortable. What we need to keep an eye on is the gap between Pepper and Preining, but it's 3.175 seconds. We have 13 minutes of the race remaining. I would have said Jordan Pepper is in a reasonable position here.
I'd say Jordan Pepper has looked under control since the moment he arrived here on Thursday and free practice and in quali. He has not looked back at any point. He currently leads by 3.175 seconds. In second place is Thomas Preining. with Mauro Engel very much for company. Thierry Vermeulen, who had been running in the podium position for so long, but in the pit stop sequence has now dropped into 4th place. Jack Aitken has just been getting on with it in 5th place. Nothing dramatic. There he is behind his teammate, Thierry Vermeulen. There's 2 teammates together. It's Ben Durr and Team O'Glock. So Ben Durr trying to put one on his teammate there. That is for 18th place, so they're not running in a points-paying position at the moment. But Team O'Glock now coming back at Ben Durr. So Glock had, Ben Durr had got past Team O'Glock. Glock now coming back. So that is a battle that is going to be raging on. Timo still not happy with that car. And of course, we're expecting to have a brand new McLaren when they arrive at the Nürburgring for the next round in August. So at the moment, it feels like he's carrying a car that he's not altogether satisfied with. Great battle though, and then going deep into turn 1, Ben Durr, and then he spanks the wall on the way out as well, leaves himself vulnerable to Nicky Team. You'd think they were fighting for a podium position, wouldn't you? I'm sorry to say, this is for 18th, 19th and 20th. Let's have another look here. Under braking, there was Timo Glock going out wide. A little bit of a kiss between the 2 teammates there. It was the next time around that Ben Durr was going to make a bit of contact with the barrier. Nicky Team had a grandstand seat of what was occurring. Right, this was the moment where Ben Durr, that may well have affected the tracking or the handling of the car. Jordan Pepper still leading the way out in front. His lap times are looking good. His last lap time was a 49.257, so he is still very much up to pace. He's a second, he's a 10th of a second down on his best lap so far.
P6, very good job, Luigi. You're getting quicker and quicker, and we have about 13 laps left in the race.
So you can see the live championship predictions there. Jordan Pepper, if things finish as they are now, will jump to 2nd place in the championship. I will tell you and remind you that this time yesterday, in fact, when we got out of bed this morning, Jordan Pepper was 8th in the championship. He's moved up to 6th on account of 3 points for pole position. He will jump to 2nd if things remain as they are now. It's a big if. Because we've still got over 10 minutes plus 1 lap of this race remaining. And I would remind you, this circuit bites and it bites hard. Jordan Pepper needs to not think about the fact that he is potentially on the eve of a first ever win in the DTM. He needs to just focus on putting that car in the right place. I think it's fair to say no one has been able to live with him in the free practice and qualifying sessions so far, with the exception of Max Powell in FP1. Jordan Pepper looking very strong indeed.
As you say, this track has got a habit of biting you on the bottom. But Jordan Pepper looking very, very strong. And what an elevation that would be in terms of the Drivers' Championship points, which proves just how close it is in the DTM. So Jordan Pepper looking in a very comfortable position here. A huge elevation in the championship. And not only that, but of course taking his first win, should it happen. Lot to happen between now and then. 9.5 minutes, 12 laps of racing probably left as we're on board with Lucas Auer right now, who is being told to push and push unmercifully from his current P6 position.
Jordan told us that he's not superstitious. If he was, he'd say, stop talking about me, because let me get on with it. 3.457. But I have to tell you, he's no longer the quickest man on the track. That is now Thierry Vermeulen in 4th place, who has just put in a fastest lap of the race. He is half a second back from Mauro Engel, and he fancies getting back into a podium position. So that ain't all over yet either. There's Jules Gounon in 7th place. He is tracking fellow Mercedes AMG runner Lucas Auer, who is in 6th. Ahead of them is Jack Aitken, but this is one of the closest battles on the track at the moment. Arjun Maini in 8th place, so he's still very much there, and this would be his best ever finish in a Ford Mustang if he could bring it home in this position now. So still plenty to go. 8.5 minutes remaining. Jordan Pepper, Thomas Preining, Mauro Engel, those are your podium runners at the moment. Riding on board Ricardo Feller in 9th place. He's 1.4 back from Arjun Maini.
Last lap around, Vermeulen took a little bit more out of Mauro Engel, just saying, with 8 minutes of the race remaining. It ain't all over yet, so let's see what Vermeulen can do in terms of wrestling back. As you say, a podium place, it would be bitterly, bitterly disappointing for him that following the pit stop, if he was ranked out of a podium, and that's certainly the way it's looking at the moment. The provisional podium, of course, at the moment, Jordan Pepper, Thomas Preining and Maro Engel, but Thierry Vermeulen is chasing him down.
Jordan Pepper finished at the top of the championship standings at the end of the Oschersleben weekend. He got a second place. He really fancies his first ever win, and he's getting close to it, but there's still plenty going on behind him. He's got that 3.7 second gap that gives him a little bit of wiggle room to maybe have a moment. Thomas Preining in that second, but third, no way is that over.
You're right. And you saw the lap evolution in graphics just a few moments ago. 2 out of the last 3 laps, Thierry Vermeulen had been quicker than Maro Engel. It's all very well being quicker than the car in front of you. You've got to find a way by, and when the racing circuit is lined with concrete or metal either side, it's not so easy.
It's just constant. Blue flags would be super nice. It's just annoying now. No, we regretted it.
What was it? Was that blue flags he was talking about? Whatever it was, that Jordan Pepper just looks to be sounding relaxed. The team sound relaxed. I don't think there are any dramas going on. His lap times are still good. There's Gottfried Grasser, team boss, still partying, still on a high after last weekend, I expect. And Jordan Pepper, I mentioned it at the start of the show, is he going to emulate exactly what Nicky Team did last year? Won the Spa 24-hour race, and then 1 week later winning at the Norisring. Whoever wins Spa 24 next year, we're going to be looking at that, aren't we?
You can almost hear Jordan saying, shut up, Brian, please, shut
go.
up. Right, here comes Thierry Vermeulen once again on Maro Engel. They are tightening up nicely here, and that's actually propelling Maro Engel ever closer to Thomas Preining. We're on board with Maro Engel looking back at the car of Thierry Vermeulen. So there is the car that's doing the chasing at the moment. There are certain sections of the track where under braking, Vermeulen is able to get right with Maro Engel. Onto the concrete paved area they go now. These are the cars that are running P2, 3 and 4. And let's get a live gap between Maro Engel and Thierry Vermeulen. It's, oh, look at this. The lap times were identical last time around between Maro Engel and Thierry Vermeulen. No advantage to Vermeulen. He's got to really push. And we're running out of time for him to do so. 5.5 minutes.
I mean, here at the Norisring, you might think, well, he's going to try and press him into a mistake. Yeah, good luck with that with Maro Engel. But certainly, Thierry Vermeulen, of course, the son of Raymond Vermeulen, the manager of one Mr. Max Verstappen. And we do know that Max Verstappen, if he's not clashing with a session at Silverstone, will be watching this race. He watches all of these races as the number 8 car looks like he's got a problem. That's Nicola Bart for Come To You Racing. Looks like he's into retirement. Now, that's up on turn 5 onto the pit straight, so it looks like he can get it safe. But yes, Thierry Vermeulen, who is coached by Max Verstappen in a Verstappen.com car, and Max will be watching on from Silverstone if it doesn't clash with any of his other commitments. He has got other things on his mind this weekend as well, but what a tutor to have. As we look at Thierry Vermeulen homing in on Maro Engel. Ahead of them, Thomas Preining looks reasonably safe in that second place at the moment, as safe as you can ever be at the Norisring. Jordan Pepper continues his march at the front with 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining.
You could just see through that turn how Vermeulen, that's one of the sections of the track where he's able to get closer to Maro Engel, but Maro Engel, one of the most experienced drivers on the grid, that's for sure. He knows how to propel a car around here, and he knows how to make that car sufficiently wide to prevent any opportunity for Thierry Vermeulen to find a way by, and he's not quite been close enough to even put a move on yet, but I just wonder in the space of 3 3/4 minutes whether a move will come. Surely he's going to have a go. He wouldn't be a racing driver if he wouldn't.
Thierry Vermeulen's best result up till now has been a 3rd place. That was the Sachsenring last year, and that was a bittersweet 3rd place as he closes in into turn 1. So if he could get past Maro Engel, he would equal his best ever result in DTM. Right, this is Jordan Pepper. All the Jordan fans in South Africa will be just biting their nails whenever we see a replay of the leading car. And he has a massive fan base in South Africa who will be watching him and shouting at their TV sets, including Sheldon and Kelvin van der Linde, who are very good friends with Jordan Pepper. They've all shared an apartment for a while now. That Jordan lives in London now, though, so he's moved from Germany to London. But still, the van der Lindes will be watching on. I don't think we've seen the last of them in DTM either. But Jordan Pepper looking for his first ever win in this wonderful championship, a championship that's in his 41st season. We're looking at Ben Durr with the local man, Marco Wittmann. So Durr had got past Marco Wittmann. He'd found a gap on the inside into turn one. You can hear the booing from the fans of Marco Wittmann, of which there are thousands on the terraces along the pit straight, all dressed in green. And Ben Durr, though, putting one over Marco Wittmann and relegating the Schubert BMW another place.
I have to say, that was fraught move, but fair move for sure, and through he went.
I think we can say that smack with the wall has not done Ben Durr's car any harm
Seemingly.
at the moment, it would seem. Right, where are we then? So out of turn one we come. Great slow-mos there. We are in the closing stages of this race. 1 minute and 3/4, plus the obligatory 1 lap. Jordan Pepper very much in control. The gap is down to 3.5 seconds, but no need to panic if you're watching on, because I think he is just controlling it. Now just bringing it home. Thomas Preining, always a bit of a star round here in second place. Mauro Engel, the last of the podium positions, never gives up, always there or thereabouts. There is Lucas Auer in 6th place. Jules Gounon, Arjun Maini queued up behind. Just ahead of him is Jack Aitken, his team radio.
Remember to stay hydrated, drink if you want.
Thanks, I'll have a coffee. In my opinion, Thomas Preining is a star over there as well. Wherever he is, he's a great driver, that's for sure. Right behind him, Mauro Engel and Thierry Vermeulen. And for the moment, I think Mauro Engel's got the measure of this. We are into the final minute, plus 1 lap, as Brian has indicated. If anything, Mauro Engel's getting a little bit closer now to Thomas Preining, but I just think that's as he was stirring the sugar into his coffee to have inside the car, there, as his engineer was telling him.
2 weeks ago, Thomas Preining had never been so disappointed with a 2nd place. But today, I think he will be very happy if he can bring this one home on the 2nd step of the podium. Mauro Engel is keeping him in sight. He cannot afford to make any mistakes. Also there, Thierry Vermeulen, it looks like potentially that he has thrown all that he can at the Mercedes in front, and I don't think any challenge is going to come, because the clock is now about to strike 0. At the moment, our race leaders round at turn 3, coming out of the Scholar S, out onto Zeppelinstrasse towards turn 4. So in a few moments, Jordan Pepper will be about to start the final lap of the race.
In the Live Championship then, the Live Championship predictor, if it finishes this way, Lucas Auer on 101 points, but that is going to be just 6 points ahead of Jordan Pepper, who would be P2 in the Drivers' Championship points if it stays this way. Through to the checkered flag, we are on the final lap of DTM Race 1 at the Norisring.
Around the corner for the last time. Turn 1, the Grundig turn, done and dusted. Jordan Pepper's heart will be racing. This is what he has dreamed of. He guessed it at the Sachsenring last year. He loved it. And now he's on the final lap of this race. He's on the eve of what could be a first win. He had a 2nd place at Oschersleben at the season opener. But now, as we head towards the halfway point of the season, Jordan Pepper is going to come out of Dutzendijk towards the start-finish line. A first ever win in the DTM for Jordan Pepper.
Thank you, boys. Oh, that's a dream. That is a dream. Thank you.
He said to us when we spoke to him on Friday, he said the one thing missing from my CV at the moment is a win in the DTM. There's another tick Not only that, but he propels himself to second in the championship. GRT Grasser are going to have some sore heads after this weekend. They celebrated last week at Spa, and now they celebrate here at the Norisring. There's a lot of smoke coming from Mauro Engel's car.
I agree.
He's crossed the line in third place. Now, it might just be
dust on pickup.
Picking up additional rubber on the tyres, making sure the car reaches the minimum weight. A lot of dust rising into the air and smoke, but it's absolutely the headline. He has dominated everything so far. And now let's listen to Thomas Preining's team radio.
This is P2, very good job.
So good, valuable points for the 2023 champion. But Jordan Pepper really launching himself back into that championship hunt.
It was a Lucas Hour right now.
Well done. I know this was a tough one. We need to see what happened there. But good job. That's a P6. It's Pepper, Preining, Engel, Vermeulen, Aitken, you, Gudon, Heini, Rust on 10.
So I was just about to say, I think it was a textbook example and display from Jordan Pepper, and Gottfried Grasser, having just only got over the lemonade consumption after last weekend, is going to be back on it again.
Good job. Awesome pit stop. Well done. Really good car. This was the maximum for us. So well done. Well done. Copy that.
Good job indeed on the pit stop. 5.8 seconds are the only team to go below 6 seconds, and by some considerable distance. That was the quickest pit stop of the race, and I think that's where it was won and lost.
I was going to, it's exactly what I was going to say. That's where the result was decided for Mauro Engel, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. The team did all that hard work, and yes, Thierry Vermeulen did have a decent pit stop, 7.8 seconds, but 2 seconds quicker was the Mauro Engel pit stop, and Vermeulen finished 1.4 seconds behind. I'll let you do the maths on that one. It's fair to say that Jordan Pepper never really looked like he was going to be challenged, and tomorrow, well, he will have an additional 20 kilos on board that car of success ballast on account of the fact that he has won. There'll be an additional 10 kilos of success ballast on the Thomas Preining car, an additional 5 on Mauro Engel's car. Don't know whether the success ballast makes that much difference here around a short circuit like this, but Jordan Pepper must be feeling confident about the prospect of a back-to-back win.
I agree with you. I think it makes less difference here. I think it still does make a difference, but I think the difference is minimized, if I'm honest with you. What do I know? It's just anecdotal. It's just exactly what I think as the cars file their way back into the pit lane. Of course, the one that we're looking forward to seeing parked up in front of P1 is that Lamborghini, which is car number 63.
So we look out across the Dutzendijk Lake and we reflect on a great race 7 of the season. It was Jürgen Pfeffer who took the top step at the podium ahead of Thomas Preining and Mauro Engel, Thierry Vermeulen, Jack Aitken, Lucas Auer, Jules Gounon, Arjen Meiney. That was your top 8. Wafting the door to get a bit of air in, that's the least of his problems. Verena is down in the pit lane with the winners.
All right, and I've got Mauro Engel here. Congratulations, Mauro, from P5 to 3rd place. So you've got to be psyched about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great race for us. It was the maximum we could get today, I think. So really pleased, and big shout out to the team. They did an amazing pit stop. I think it was a new record, and obviously congrats to Jordan and Thomas ahead of us.
And also, it's your 3rd podium this season. You're being very constant, which also means you're 3rd in the championship right now. So anything is possible from here. It's the 4th race weekend, and you're really catching up.
Yeah, for sure. We're pushing, trying to get as many podiums as possible. Hopefully a win at some point. But yeah, we're pushing, and I have a great team behind me. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We lost 2 cars, I think, today in the race. It was pretty. I mean, as we know, Norisring is tough. How tough was it out there for you?
Yeah, obviously lap 1 was pretty chaotic. Yeah, lucky that we survived that, and from there on it was relatively clear.
But now also looking forward to tomorrow, obviously.
Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. New race, new chance, and obviously races here are always exciting. So yeah.
I can't wait. All right, well, have fun with the champagne later on, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Verena, and thank you also, Mauro Engel, for having a word. But Jordan Pepper, this is something he has dreamed about. I mentioned earlier he did a guest appearance at the Saxon Ring last year. Discovered that he loved the DTM and wanted to do a full season this year, and has looked on the pace all season long. And today he scores a maximum of 25 points for the race win, an additional 3 for that pole position as well. Thomas Preining with 20 points in that second place. Mauro Engel 16 points for third, all valuable in the championship. Thierry Vermeulen will not be especially chuffed with fourth place, considering he was running in second for much of the race. Jack Aitken, solid job there, 11 points for him. Championship leader, though. You heard Lugi on the team radio saying we'll have to analyse what went wrong, because sixth place is not what he had in mind this morning. Jules Gounon in seventh place ahead of Arjun Maini, Ricardo Feller and Rene Rast. Eventually his charge just petering out a little. Then Ian Chen-Nguyen, Jules Magnus, Tom Callender, Maurice Schering and Max Powell, they're still under investigation by the race stewards for that incident that saw Maurice Schering rotating defending champion Mirko Bortolotti out of the points. That is going to sting. Ben Durr in 17th place ahead of the local man Marco Wittmann in 18th, and then Timo Glock still struggling with that car. Nicky team, well, what might have been, he started on the front row, but it was going to be a 20th place. 3 non-finishers in Nicola Bart, Luca Engsler and Ben Green. But that is the car that finished in third place. The Mercedes-AMG GT3, you heard Mauro say that was as much as we were going to get out of it today. The Porsche in second place by Manthey EMA, the 911 GT3R with Thomas Preining at the wheel. Always very quick around here. But who can live with Jordan Pepper? I would almost guarantee tomorrow will be a very different story. A Lamborghini Huracan that is prepared by TGI. Team Lamborghini by GRT, propelling the South African to the top step of the podium for the first time ever in the DTM. And you can see what this means for him as he punches the air. So the celebrations will start, but the celebrations will need to be short-lived, because we will come back and do it all again tomorrow, and it may well be a completely different grid and a completely different result. But Jordan Pepper will be reflecting on this. The massive audience that are here at the Norisring this weekend have been truly entertained. And let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship, all very much subject to confirmation. Jordan Pepper jumping from 8th coming into today to 2nd place. Mauro Engel in just 13 points adrift. Jules Gounon 19 points back in 4th place. Rene Rast getting shuffled down the pack. He is 20 points back from the race leader as well. So you can see how quickly it all turns around here in the DTM as the drivers now make their way up onto the podium, and we will see the celebrations very, very shortly.
Like everything else here at the Norisring, the podium is brought in for the occasion, Brian, and here are the drivers that will be on it.
Mauro Engel, who looks knackered, actually, doesn't he, onto the first step of the podium.
That means tired.
Tired, yes, that's technical terms there. I think that takes a bit out of you in this heat, this intensity of racing. Not a moment to breathe and take it easy. There is Thomas Preining onto the second step of the podium. He is a former winner here, in fact, a 2 times winner here at the Norisring, and on to the top step for the very first time. The biggest smile in the whole of Nuremberg. It is Jordan Pepper. So Grasser Racing will have a representative as well who will receive a trophy on behalf of the team. They're not going to wheel Gottfried up there for this one, but another representative from the team who stands there on the podium as well. Well, that was the extended remix of the South African national anthem. And I think that Jordan Pepper was savouring every second of it. Your first win in the DTM, will be one of the most memorable moments of his racing career as Dr. Gerd Enser, the ADAC Sports President, presents the trophy to the race winner. And we say congratulations to Gerd Enser for starting his second term as the ADAC Sports President. Georg Schäffler presenting the second place trophy to Thomas Preining. And then be a lovely trophy that will be about to arrive for Mauro Engel. I think he's got a warehouse full of those. Hannes Hiller, a station manager of ProSieben. Great to have him here and have ProSieben on board with our coverage of DTM once again this year, presenting the third place trophy. And there'll be another bit of silverware that'll be coming the way. Oh, there's a face that we haven't seen for a while. Herman Tomczyk, the honorary sports president of the ADAC. He did a phenomenal job as the ADA sports president in the past. Great to have him back here, joining in the celebrations here at the Norisring. The three drivers and the team representative are posing for the photographs before the celebrations will commence. Quick photo there. Thomas Preining a bit eager out of the blocks. I should think they'll probably want to get into the shade as soon as possible. The bottle cam is fired up, and we now get to see a unique view of the celebrations on this podium. And moments that will be savoured and remembered for a long time by Jordan Pepper.
I agree. Always your first, it means the most, doesn't it? And it comes in a purple patch at the moment, both for the team and for the driver base too. And Jordan Pepper then. As you said, what can you expect with the DTM? Expect the unexpected. It could be altogether different tomorrow, and you have a sneaking suspicion that the Lamborghini might not be quite as quick tomorrow. Make of that what you will, but of course it is a completely different day. And yeah, who knows how things will pan out. The bottle drop worked quite well, didn't it?
Well, the camera remained intact, and the team will be enjoying every sip of that champagne. That's Thomas Preining's crew, the Manthey crew. Right, Verena is down enjoying all of the celebrations out by the podium and in the pit lane.
And I'm here with Thomas Preining. Thomas, you fought really hard. Congratulations. It was hot, and it was a really hot race as well. So how excited are you?
Very, super happy. This was more than we could have hoped for, to be honest. It was a bit of an overachievement, I think. So super happy. I got a bit lucky at the start to already go to P3, and the rest we did on strategy. So massive thanks to the team. Great pit stop as well, and hopefully we can do something in the same fashion tomorrow.
Fantastic strategy coming from P4 to P2, and also it's your best result this year, so that's really good.
Well, there's always room for improvement. I hope we can get an even better one tomorrow, but definitely a good step.
All right, and how much did you enjoy it with the spirit here? I mean, everybody clapping and everything, the atmosphere, how much did you enjoy that?
It's always a mega atmosphere here. Obviously, winning would have been a bit sweeter, but all in all, as I said, a very, very good day for us. Better than we thought, and we're slowly fighting our way back into the championship after 2 unlucky DNFs. So everything going according to plan. We just need to keep doing what we do.
How about winning tomorrow?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Thomas. Thank you. And here are your commentators.
If only it were that easy, eh?
All right, then, I'll try and do that.
Amazing. Well, Thomas Preining, of course, he had that run of 35 consecutive points finishes. He'll be happy that we stopped mentioning it now, because that came to an end at the Lausitz-Ring, followed by another non-finish at Zandvoort. But he's put that behind him, his best result of the season so far. He'd had a couple of third places this year, but this is his best of the season. And surely not long before he's back on the top step of the podium. That is the case for Jordan Pepper. He's on to the top step of the podium, a first ever win in the DTM. Certainly, almost certainly not the last. Are we going to be able to do anything about that tomorrow? Well, we'll find out. Let's head back down to Verena for one last word from the pit lane.
And look at this, the #1, Jordan Pepper, your first win ever in the DTM. So congratulations, and I want to see a big smile. You fought hard and you came from pole position to victory, so you did it.
Yeah, not as easy as you made it sound. I mean, just intense, such a place. It was so hot out there, so much focus required, but Yeah, it was emotional. I'm super proud, and yeah, dedicating this first win to my little nephew Tiago, who's a couple days old, and yeah, just proud to have so much support back home. It's for my whole family. Everyone behind me. My dad's here today to celebrate, represent all of them, but I know my family back home, my girlfriend, her family as well, supporting really hard. And yeah, just a proud moment for me, and of course for my team, for what they've done, for TGI, for the whole Grasser Racing team, Lamborghini. Proud, and hopefully more to come.
I was just going to say, you won Spa 24 hours last weekend. You won here now, so it can just continue like that, right?
Yeah, the next target is the championship. I mean, still early to say. We're not even at the halfway point yet, for sure.
But you're second in the championship now, Jordan.
Yeah, I've led. I've dropped down to 8th. I'm back to 2nd. This is DTM. Anything can happen. But yeah, we stay in the fight. We keep focused, keep realistic, and let's see if we can do it.
All right, well, fingers are crossed. Jordan, congratulations. I love the #1. Fantastic. I'm surely going to get a good place in his house, in his room. And yeah, that was the Norisring, the first race. And wow, after such a hot race today, we're certainly looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be just as exciting, I'm sure. And I hope you guys are all going to watch. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Here are the highlights. Bye-bye.